All right. Welcome to the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. I'm so glad that you could join me today. And wherever you are listening. Okay, for our students as well that are following us on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube as well, I want to welcome each one of you. A special welcome. We are still doing applied leadership, and we are now doing module 8. We are now doing module 8. And in this module, we are looking at how intelligence affects leadership. Okay. How intelligence affects leadership. We are going to look at that in a more detailed manner as we look at leadership intelligence skills. So let me know exactly if you can get me. I had to drop my headsets now because I think they could distract me to end up starting to shout at my students, not knowing that they can hear me loud and clear. So, guys, if you are just joining me, we have started the session, and I'm so excited. Let me say thank you to all those that also follow us on social media. You can realize that applied leadership is the bedrock of our leadership courses. And so remember that this is a 6 weeks course which has got about 14 modules, and we are at module number 8, where we are looking at the leadership intelligence skills, how intelligence affects your leadership. So come on, you want to be part of the leadership development team, you are free and welcome to join the African Institute of Leadership and Governance so that you can also become a great leader. And you can not just become a great leader, but you can be able to you can also be able to graduate with us. So it is very important. Um, okay, somebody saying the link saying I can't enter. Uh, okay, the only way you can enter is log in. Your name below. Log in your name. Okay. Yeah. Okay, he's coming on. I see he's saying I can't enter, but then they need to connect their mic and okay. The device connect your mic. Uh-huh. Let me just I'm just giving a chance to some students that are joining in. It says connect. They will need to connect their mic and camera before. Yeah. All right. Let me just attend to these students that are having a bit of a challenge to log in by giving them instructions so that they can be able to log in successfully. We okay. We are looking at uh, we are looking at the moment at how intelligence affects leadership or leadership intelligence skills. So this is very important for all the students and every leader to understand. Uh, Before you log in, make sure that your mic is on. Click on the mic and the camera, they should be first on. Then you can mute them because we can see you in class, but it's saying device not connected. It says they will need to connect their mic and camera before you can add them. So we can see you on standby at the back, but you need to switch on the mic and the camera. Then we can see, then we will log in. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, let's continue with our module as we look at this aspect of applied leadership. Let's continue from there and begin to navigate. I will wish us to that everybody can be joining at the right time, on time. So let's go. As we start, we are saying this is applied leadership. We are looking at leadership intelligence and skills. So at this particular moment, let me quickly go to the screen share. Let's go to the screen share. All right. So there we go. We are now in module 8, looking at what we have just spoken about, leadership, intelligence, skills. So let us begin by understanding some of the intelligences that we need to have. We had indicated earlier on in our session about the importance of intelligence. And so at this particular time, we are moving on and looking at emotional intelligence. Let us look at emotional intelligence as part of the leadership skill. Emotional intelligence as part of the leadership skill. So this is very important for each participant to understand that emotional intelligence is a key factor to a success of your organization. Emotional intelligence is a key factor to the success of your organization or your business. Okay? What is emotional intelligence? Let's look at that. The term emotional intelligence was created by two researchers, Peter Salovey and John Mayer, in their article Emotional Intelligence in the journal Imagination, Cognition, and Personality in 1990. It was later popularized by Dan Goleman in his 1995 book on emotional intelligence. Therefore, emotional intelligence, we define it as EI, or as it is known as EI. We define it as the ability to, number one, recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions. Our own emotion. Two, to recognize and understand and influence the emotions of others. Now, let me explain. I love to explain whenever we discuss such things, all right? I would love to explain now on how does it work? How does it work? How does emotional intelligence works? I want us to look at it as we are looking at the discussion. Okay, Evelyn, Evangelist Evelyn Chama, would you, if you can hear me, hear it saying your mic, switch on your mic and then log in again. Switch on your mic and log in again. Let me communicate that to my students that are struggling. They need to make sure they log in and switch on the mics as they log in. Yeah, it's very important. Okay. Let me communicate. As we can see, Kefilu Ndaba, thank you for coming to the class today. We are making sure that we move together. Okay, I'm just making sure that everybody is on the same page. I just want to make sure that it's part of leadership. Ma'am Evelyn, would you kindly switch on your mic when logging in? We can see you at the back, but you switch on the mic and the cam. Then when you are in, you can close it. Because you're saying your device is failing to connect to the class, but we can see you at the back. So you are sitting at the back. Would you log out and log in again? All right. So yes, let's continue by establishing emotional intelligence. So we are saying that emotional intelligence is key to the success of any organization. Okay, that's where I was. Okay, Levran Tawe, thank you for coming. So emotional intelligence is key to the growth of your organization. Now, I'm trying to explain something that is very, very important here. That whenever you are working with human beings, remember this very important aspect. The word is intelligence. The second word is emotion. Okay. Every human being, they have the emotions. Okay. So you must know, remember in our earlier modules, we have looked on how to deal with people of different personalities and how people respond to different situations. So at this particular time, you must know and recognize and understand on how you manage your own emotions as a leader. Firstly, you must understand on how you manage your own emotion as a leader. There is what we call emotion management. Emotion management. I like that I've got a Levran in our class, Levran Tawe, who is in, who can help us to understand on how religious leaders have to manage their emotions, more especially when they have to do a funeral the same day. In the morning, it's a funeral. In the afternoon, it's a wedding. You can, as a leader, you cannot have the same emotions. In the morning, you are in the gloomy emotions of mourning, and then you go with the same emotions of gloomy at a place of celebration. The same way, the same way we have the same challenge where our leaders, they take, for example, you are coming from home with family challenges. All of us have got their own emotions and challenges. Let's say you are coming from home with some family challenges. Then you discover that your family is your family is fighting, or your children are fighting, and then you bring those emotions to your workplace. What does that do to you? That affects your performance at work. That affects your performance at work. Your performance is affected when your emotions supersedes your input. So make sure you recognize how you handle your emotions as a leader before you appear at your workplace or in your organization or in a meeting. Because if you don't deal with your emotions well, definitely they will affect your daily business. Okay, guys, let's move on and look at how your emotions also affect others. We must recognize that emotions have got power to affect others, the performance of others. So, if a leader is highly emotional, they are likely not to achieve great results. They are likely they are likely to fail. The percentage of them to fail, it's high. So make sure that you've got that. So understand that. I hope that you are picking up one or two lessons from there. So let's look at managing emotions is especially important in situations when we are under pressure. When we are under pressure, emotions always rise. Okay? Emotions always rise, Lena Joseph. So we know that when we are under pressure, emotions always rise. One of the things that I've learned is to manage and try to control your emotions. Let's look at, for example, when we are giving feedback. When we are giving feedback, number one, there is always that emotional hype when you have to give feedback in your workplace. When your supervisor is coming or when your boss is coming, you may have prepared, but because you know, you are conscious that this is your boss, when they come in, you discover that there is emotions that will be running around you. You will always have emotions running. You will always have emotions running. All right. I've got my students trying to get in and they are also struggling. Yes, Grace Mwanza, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, sir. How are you too?
Yes, we are in at the midst of the class. Would you kindly log in? We are moving quite ahead.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So let's continue from there by establishing what exactly we need to do. Okay, I think she's having maybe a challenge. Let me attend to her. Just give me a second as I attend to a student. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Have you? No, go ahead. Speak to me.
Oh, well, what I was saying is I'm failing to tune in. Nothing is coming forth.
No, but the class is on and others are in. Can you click on your your link? You have the link, the one that we sent to you.
Yes, I do.
Yes, go ahead
I
and
have
click it.
right now.
I can't see you in. I can't see you logging in yet.
I am logging in.
Did you put in your name? Put your name and your mic.
I have my earphones.
No problem, but just put on your name when you're logging in. It will give you your name and everything. Then we'll see you in class, and then we'll accept you in. Thank you.
The name is there already.
Yeah. So, but it's not yet. The logging in has not showed. Has it? What is it saying on your gadget? All right. Sorry about that. It's part of our job. We need to make sure we attend to everybody as important. Yeah. So I was saying, when you are giving feedback, you realize that emotions will always arise when your supervisors, your leaders, they are coming. The second thing, okay, the second part, which we need to realize, there you go. Yes, there you go. She's in there, Miss Mwanza. Thank you. Let's look at the other aspect that you will have as a challenge. The other challenge there, which we look at, is the aspect of meeting the tight deadlines. Meeting the tight deadlines. When you are about to meet the deadlines, when you are giving a report and you have to meet the deadlines, we also know that emotions always will rise. Whenever you are meeting deadlines, we know that emotions will always rise. Okay, let's proceed and let's look at point number 3. When do emotions rise again? When dealing with challenging relationships. When dealing with challenging relationships, you must know as a leader that you will always have these relationships either in your organization or at a place of work or in your company, which we call challenging, where you are dealing with specifically people that are either close to you or people that are very far from you. You don't know at what point you have to break the ice. You don't know at what point you have to break the ice. So it is at that point of ice breaking where many people they fail. Many people they fail. When do emotion arise? Point number 4. When do emotion arise? Point number 4. When you don't have enough resources. Not having enough resources makes the leader to have his emotions or her emotions rise. It makes a leader to have his emotions or her emotions rise. So it is important for you to recognize that your emotions will always rise whenever you don't have enough resources. Your emotions will always rise. So at that particular time, make sure that your resources, your emotions are put under control. Make sure that your emotions are under control, because if your emotions are not controlled, they have got a way in which they can affect your performance. We are talking about when you don't have enough resources, make sure you compose yourself as a leader. Leadership composure is needed when resources are limited. Leadership composure is needed when resources are not enough. Number 5, navigating change. Emotions are always high when there is change. I had an opportunity to participate. I've participated as a leadership consultant in many political reforms, and many times when there is elections, either in many countries that I've had an opportunity to participate, I discovered that in the year of an election, emotions are always high. Why? Navigating change. When we have to navigate change, we always gonna struggle, right? So your emotions will be, please try to stick in class. I see others are coming in and out because maybe of network, but try to be as close as possible. If possible, if you're having in calls, if you're using a phone, you try to block them as quick as possible so we can move fast. So I am saying navigating change. When you are changing management, when you are changing leadership, when you are changing promotions, they always raise emotions. They will always raise emotions. So emotions will always rise whenever there is change. Emotions will always rise. I can give you a lot of examples. In an example, when you have a new pastor in your church, there will always be the old elders and the deacons and whatever. They'll always rise up and they will say, no, we don't need this or we need that. Why? Because there is always that. So emotions will be very high. So you, as a leader, you must, that's why you are studying this thing. You need to understand emotional intelligence. How do you work with people when things are like that? At a place of work, in society, you can put examples everywhere. So you have to look at how do you deal with change when it comes that way. When it comes that way. Last one. Let's look at last one, number 6. Working through setbacks and failure. Working through setbacks. Emotions are very high when you are dealing with setbacks. Emotions will always be very high when you are dealing with setbacks. Working through setbacks and failure can trigger your emotions. I personally have realized that I struggle a lot. I have to give you my own example. I struggle a lot when it comes to dealing with people that are just bringing setbacks, because nobody likes to go behind. Okay, Levrantawe can, at least he can hear me. He says, I have a bad network here, but as long as you can hear us, that's good. Okay, he's saying he had bad network. All right, but as long as you can hear us, sorry about that. So let's move on and look at the intelligence cycle, the emotional intelligence cycle. Let's look at the emotional intelligence cycle. This is very important for us to look at. Number 1 is what we call self-awareness. You need to be aware of yourself. You need to be aware of yourself. It's called self-awareness. You need to be aware of yourself. Number 2, you need to understand motivation. Whenever you are dealing with emotional intelligence, you must understand motivation. What motivates a certain particular of behavior? So you must understand motivation, because this is very key. When you understand motivation, you will be able to use self-intelligence. You will be, emotional intelligence. The other aspect, you have to look at empathy. You have to understand empathy. Now, empathy is putting yourself in the shoes of the other. All right, putting yourself in the shoes of the other. You must look at the people that you are dealing with. Why have they responded in such a manner? So use empathy and then put yourself in their shoes and say, if it was me, okay, if it was me, would what was the English word? Would I have responded in the same way? Look at that. Then let's look at social skills. What are the social skills that you have applied so you can deal with your emotions? What are the social skills that you have applied? Okay. Then self-regulations. Remember what we spoke about, self-regulations in the other aspect. We spoke about how you regulate yourself, putting limiters. You must put limiters to yourself. You must understand where you break in. What is your breaking point? Okay. So you must understand that as a leader. It is very, very important, because if a leader does not understand, if a leader does not have self-regulations, if a leader lacks the system of regulating himself or herself, then you cannot have a complete understanding of emotional intelligence. In order for you to have a complete understanding of emotional intelligence, you need these pillars to be in place. Number one, I said self-awareness. Number two, motivation. Number three, empathy. Number four, social skills. Number five, self-regulation. I hope that you are learning something as we are moving. Let's go to the other element. The other type of intelligence, remember number two, intelligence that a leader needs, because we are looking at leadership intelligence skills. We are looking now at number two, which is called social intelligence. Okay? SI, social intelligence. We have looked at emotional intelligence. As a leader, there is an aspect of emotions. As a leader, you also have what we call social understanding. We have to look at social intelligence from all angles. And in a short while, we're going to go detail on how we arrive to this. But let's first deal with the definitions. What is social intelligence? The word social intelligence was one time discovered or used by a philosopher and psychologist by the name of Thorndike. Thorndike, 1920, defined social intelligence as A, the ability to understand and manage men and women, boys and girls, to act wisely in human relations. Now, let me use this aspect of social intelligence by stating that what Tom Dick was saying here was that regardless of age, human beings are social beings. Okay. Regardless of history, background, religion, creed, human beings in nature, they are social intelligence beings. They are social beings. That's why somebody said to me, hey, there is no secret on the earth. Well, that's why we say a human being is a social animal. That simply means that whatever happens to you, you will always want to find somebody to share the experience with. But what is important is how to act wisely in human relations. So social intelligence in a company is very important. In an organization is very important. In a community and in a country, it's very important. I can give you many examples. When we deal with social intelligence, for me, who is in KwaZulu-Natal, and Kefilwe, who is in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and Linda Joseph, who is in Free State, and Grace Mwanza, who is in Lusaka, and Reverend Tawe, who is in the eastern province of Zambia. All of us here, if we have to gather and discuss how we relate, you will appreciate that everyone will have a different way of relations. On how we relate with each other, we'll have a different way. You see, in KwaZulu-Natal, we eat with a spoon. We eat with a spoon. Let me give you an example of social intelligence. In KwaZulu-Natal, we eat with a spoon. I don't know, Kefil, in your area they eat with what, but I'm not sure. I wish I could have heard from you. I Okay, let me do this. I want to hear some voices now. Okay, just all of you that okay, can you unmute your mic? Let's do this task. Let me try to get on to the students that are on. Yes, just unmute your mics. Let me start with Lina Joseph. Yeah, me in KwaZulu Natal, we eat with a spoon. Lina Joseph, what do you use to eat? Mike? I seem not to get on. Maybe they're failing to get on the mic. Yes, Kefilwe, can you hear me, my sister? Kefilwe Ndawa? I'm trying to get on the students to participate. Oh, it logged out. I couldn't pick it up. Yes, Miss Mwanza, in your area, what you eat with what? Click on your mic. No, you are mute. You are mute. Click on the mic first on your gadget. Click on your mic first, then you speak. You are mute. I'm trying. Let me see if I can unmute you from here. Yes. All right. It seems you are mute. It seems everybody's mute on their side. Okay. But you can hear me, right? Can you unmute? I wanted to hear your feedbacks. Levran Chad, can you hear me? I've given you authority to unmute yourselves, please. It seems everybody's mute. Okay. Kefilo seems to be having a challenge with. Hello, Kefi, can you hear me? That's network problem now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Now I see it's the network, the challenge that you're having on your side. Yes. My question was very simple. I wanted to just pick, we are doing social intelligence questioning now. I was saying that for us in KwaZulu Natal, when we eat, we are using spoon. And where you are in your culture, when you eat, what do you use?
Most of the time, we are eating with our own hands, unless if you are
Physical
eating
hands.
rice only. But yes, physical hands.
Unless if you're eating rice. Reverend Chad, can you hear me? I wanted to get on Reverend Chad. We are doing a social intelligence, but it seems I've asked you to unmute your mic, Reverend Chad. Okay. It seems he's using headsets or something like that. And when these people are using headsets, they fail to unmute. Okay, so let's proceed. Then let's go back to our sessions. So I am saying that just when you look at how we eat, how we socialize, it is very difficult for us to say we are all the same because we are all human beings. So right from there, it helps us to understand that social intelligence is very important it's very important because it cuts across the young, the old, and regardless of color. So human beings are different, but we relate differently. We relate differently. So it is more important for us to have an understanding on what influences such kind of behavior in a place of work, in an industry, or in a community. Okay. So, in other words, a more extensive definition was offered by Vernon in 1933, who described social intelligence as the ability to get along with people in general, social techniques, or ease in society, knowledge of social matters, susceptibility of stimuli from other from other members of a group, as well as insight into the temporary moods or underlying personalities, underlying personality traits of strangers. So we have to acknowledge that. We have to look at what are the underlying influencing factors to social behavior. So if you get to work, for example, you will have management that changes all the time. And each manager that you will have, they have a different approach on how they look at social intelligence. Many years ago, you will recognize that in the military, they have a particular day, which they used to call a day of social activities. Others, it's a Thursday, others, it's a Wednesday. So within a military, there is a place which they used to call a mess. Not mess as in messing, a mess, you know. It's a military mess where all the military personnel, only military personnel, gather there for a social life, to socialize themselves. That helps to have a productive work. So when you, in a place of work, whenever you move into a new company or new organization, or you are leading a new team, look at what are the team building projects that are there. What are the team building infrastructures? That's what we call them in management. What are the team building infrastructures that have been put in place so that you can be able to develop a relationship? If social intelligence is neglected at a place of work or in a company, you must be assured that performance output will definitely be affected. Performance output will definitely be affected. Why? Because we have neglected one aspect of productivity in a place of work, which is known as social intelligence. So, guys, that is very key for us to look at. Let's move on and begin to move and accelerate. Let's get here before we begin to wrap up. So we'll be done shortly in the next few minutes. However, more recent investigations have given weight to the idea that social intelligence is not a singular cognitive ability, but rather it incorporates several types of intelligence, which are all dissociable from one another. I'll get to that again. Let me read that again. However, more recent investigations have given weight to the idea that social intelligence is not a singular cognitive ability. So What does that mean? That simply means social intelligence is not just a monologue. It's not just one aspect. Social intelligence is a holistic thing. It's something that we incorporate other intelligence aspects. We incorporate other intelligence aspects. Okay. So let's look at this. So this idea largely stems from Howard Gardner. Okay, Howard Gardner developed this theory in 1983, which suggests to us a combination. In order for us to achieve social intelligence, we need a combination of these kinds of intelligence. He proposed, in fact, 8 intelligence. He proposed 8 intelligences. And let's look at these 8 intelligences that Howard Gardner proposes in order for us to achieve social intelligence. Number 1, linguistical, which is verbal. Linguistical. Now, social intelligence can be worked on by linguistics. Agree with me in a quick one. Agree with me that when you are in a bus, you are traveling from Johannesburg to Northern Cape, Kimberley, or Kuruman, or Uppington, and they speak Afrikaans in Uppington. And those areas, they speak Afrikaans. And you are a pedi coming from Gauteng or from Lipombo. You are traveling to Uppington, and all of a sudden, you hear 2 people speaking in pedi. What happens to you? You feel attracted to them immediately. You may not know them. You may not have met them. But just the fact that they are speaking a similar language, you get easily attracted. How do we call that? It is called linguistical intelligence. So linguistical intelligence helps to build social intelligence. So language is something that is used to develop social intelligence. The second one is what we used to call spatial or visual. Okay. The visual aspect is very important because visual, it's what you see. People just get attracted to sight. They get attracted to sight, how they see things and how they identify things, and they find themselves easily get attracted and they are easily able to penetrate. It's a visual approach where you look at things in a specific direction and you say, we can work together here and there. The other one is naturalistic, where you look at your background of history and you look at your natural causes and all that. The other way is bodily. This one is known as kinesthetic. Kinesthetic. Now, do you know that when you are not medium height, but when you are short, let me use the way, they don't allow us to use that word short in intelligence, but let's say you are vertically challenged. Okay. When you are short in stature or smaller in stature, haven't you wondered that people who are smaller in stature, they easily find comfort quickly to meet with other people who are smaller in stature? Then huge people who are big size, they always find also it easy to find friends who are big size. It's social intelligence. So these are factors that these are intelligences that can develop social intelligence. So you just find that people, they like each other because they are all big size. And you find 3, 4 big people they are moving. I'm quite big as well. I'm big size. I'm huge. No, but I don't know. You know, they are bigger people than me. So then musical. Just the kind of music that you listen to. These are able to help develop a team. Then logical, we call this mathematical, where you calculate, you get attracted to certain people because of certain reasons. It's mathematical. Then we have got what we call interpersonal. Intrapersonal, where it goes beyond, it becomes maybe because of intrapersonal. It has to do also with maybe the career. You are in a similar career, you are in a similar business, you are in a similar kind of work, then you can get there. Then we've got what we call interpersonal. So this is also how you get to social intelligence. Let me move fast. 5 ways to increase on your social intelligence. 5 ways to increase on your social intelligence. Number 1, keep track of how you are feeling. Keep track of how you are feeling. Number 2, approach interpersonal with interactions with receptiveness. Number 3, make an effort to put yourself in other person's shoes. Number 4, read invisible interconnections in a social apparatus. Number 5, learn to interpret people non-verbal behaviors. Learn to interpret people's non-verbal behaviors. Very important. Now, let's get to the last one and we'll be closing. Factors that influence social, that influences intelligence. Now, this has to do both with emotional intelligence and social intelligence. We look at the factors that influences that. Factors that influence both social intelligence and emotional intelligence. Number 1, biological intelligence. Biological intelligence is what we can cycle in the first cycle here. I hope you are seeing this. Biological intelligence is what we cycle here in the first cycle. We call it the genetics, the physiology, the biochemistry. These are abbreviated as the EEG, the RT, the AEP, the GC, the GSR, the CNV. These are genetics, physiology, and biochemistry. These are factors that somebody is born with. They affect your emotional and your social intelligence. The next one is called the intelligence quotient, which is the IQ. The intelligence quotient is influenced by 4 factors. Intelligence quotient, it can also be called the intellectual intelligence. The intelligence quotient can also be called intellectual intelligence, which can be developed, but they have got factors that influences the intelligence, the intellectual intelligence or the emotional quotient. Number 1 is called cultural factors. Your cultural factors have got a way that they influence your IQ. Then family upbringing, how you were raised, how you were brought up. It has got a way it influences your emotions and your social life, how you were brought up. Then we've got the last part, or not the last part, then we've got the socio-economic status. The socio-economic status has got a way in which it affects your your performance in your emotional and your social intelligence. Then the last part is education. So these four are very key: cultural, family, socio-economic status, and education. These are very important. These are very important. Okay. Then we've got. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Then we've got factors that influences your social intelligence. This one is quite a lot, and I'm going to try to be so quick. Number one is the socioeconomic status. Number two, your motivation. Number three, your nutrition, how you eat. That's got a way it affects you. Okay. Then your education, your cultural factor, things like your drinking habits, coping strategies, family background, mental disorders, personalities, experience, health. All these will affect your emotional intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, at this particular time, allow me to get on saying we are almost at the end of the class for today. I hope that we have been able to get one or two, but this was module 8, and your next class is on Tuesday next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in and for coming on board. Bye-bye.